Welcome to the Penga Folder podcast with your host, Nana and Emelie. They invest remotely in the UK and live in Sweden. In this podcast, they will be interviewing interesting guests that all invest in the UK property market.
Hey, welcome to Penga Flood Podcast. Today, we have a guy who have been with us before. I think it was 2019, the last time we recorded with you, Tej Singh, right?
Yeah, too long.
Yeah, he's too busy, so it's very hard to get a hold of him.
I'm too busy beating all of you at the board game cash flow, is the truth, like last night.
So we're actually doing this before you're leaving to the UK. So
I'm actually in Göteborg right now.
Yes, Göteborg. So did you like it?
The food was crap.
Yeah.
Can someone speak to the Swedish government about the lack of salt and any flavour in Göteborg food? But the people were good. It was good times. The place is quite cool, quite nice. And the countryside, the islands are really nice. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Next time, I'll bring him to Stockholm.
Yep.
So tell me, what is up with Tej today?
Well, I'm half asleep. Because obviously, if you know Nana, if you don't know Nana, he's late to everything. Todo, everything. So, yeah, I'm just sort of looking forward to going home and getting some sleep, eating some good food, and getting back into property, sort of. I've got a deal at the moment, so just getting that funded.
Yeah. So last time you were here, you were, what I recalled, did an amazing journey during those, what was it, like 6 months or 8 months?
Yeah, 9 months, I think the push was, yeah.
Yeah, and you got like 14 properties. So what was the biggest challenge?
I think it would have been managing refurbs or just refurbs as a whole, because buying properties and finding them at the time was quite straightforward. It was quite easy compared to now, as we both know how difficult it is. That bit was quite easy. The legals, easy. And then I suppose the end of it, like refinancing, had its difficulties. There were challenges. If I was selling, it had its challenges. And tenants generally have been okay. But the middle bit, I suppose the most riskiest part, that people think that they can just, we'll do a refurb. They did it on, this TV show and yeah, we'll just do it. It'll be really easy. Is so hard. And managing at one point, like 4 or 5 refurbs at one point, 200 miles away or like 250 kilometers away, was just incredibly difficult because one, I had no training in this. I didn't really know what I was doing, learning on the job. I didn't have a mentor. Yeah, I did have some people kind of guiding me, which was good. But there's a lot of trust there that you have to give someone, a lot of belief you have to put in someone else. And trying to do that, also just the actual physical, not physical, but just the doing, right? Which is like managing builders, managing deliveries, making sure they're doing the right job, making sure that when they send a picture, everything behind the picture is just not done and it's just taken at a certain angle. So I think managing refurbs is something that, and especially people maybe listening in Sweden who are investing in the UK or other places, this is going to be probably, in my opinion, your biggest issue. And I think people are really going to struggle with investing at a distance because of the refurb. You can get someone to find deals, you can get someone to... But that thing, because of the nature, in my opinion, of builders and the nature of the construction industry, is very, very difficult to manage that process. Even with the right things, you've got a schedule of works, you've got a project management schedule, all this stuff, it can still be so hard. So, yeah, for me, that was probably the biggest challenge. And then with the refinancing, there were some challenges, like I said, because of this property value is below our minimum, or like, we don't like your lending profile, or you've got too many properties. I'm like, you're a landlord specialist lender and you don't like landlords. So when you get to that stage, and it may be different, again, for people in Sweden who are investing abroad with the rules and, all the kind of lack of technology that we have in England, refinancing can be really difficult. So to avoid that, as soon as you get a deal, as soon as you look at a deal sources pack and you're semi-interested, text your broker. My broker is like the first step. Before I even analyze a deal, if it's a weird one, i.e. not a standard house in, surrounded by houses, and it's like, I'll text him and say, right, got these issues, can we get lending? And you might say, but I'm flipping the property, what does it matter? The person buying it off you is going to need lending. So to avoid that, always ask your broker first.
Wow. And I do that, but I get stick from Emelie and other people. Like, why don't you do the due diligence? Because, I mean, if we don't get it at the green light from your broker, why is the concern
and
to
your
just
broker
look at
most
it?
times can tell you, like Shaz can tell me in like a second.
Yeah.
He just knows. So when your broker knows and you give them multiple business, they don't care. They're just like, no, because they don't want the headache of like, how do I get you a mortgage now? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So you mentioned that you have started doing flip in the beginning. Can you expand? Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
since last time, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I've built the portfolio. It's cash flowing. It's pretty smooth. I manage it myself, which is not much to do. I mean, this weekend, or since I've been here in Yotibo, I spent 15 minutes managing it, if that, just a few texts. And that's quite common, so it's fairly passive, as people say. And I like it in a sense that it pays for everything it needs to. I've got one service accommodation, like an Airbnb, and that fluctuates, but when it goes good, it goes good. So that's quite a nice little bonus. So I think for me, when the market changed, it became even harder to find any kind of deal.
Yeah.
And a flip is an easier deal because on a BRR, obviously, which I've written my book about, you can get 75% back of the end value.
Can you explain BRR for the new listeners, please?
So you buy a property, usually a shithole, it's in really bad condition, or it has a problem. You then fix that problem. Remember, you've bought this below market value, right? So you buy it, you fix the problem, you then get a mortgage on it at market value, which of course you've improved because it's what you've done. That then allows you to pull most, if not all, that's almost impossible in today's market, of your money back out. And once you pull that out, you've got no money left in the deal, or a very little money compared to, I've got to leave in 25% of my deposit. Like, it makes a really big difference on your return. And also, when you work with investors, it kind of reduces the issues when you're paying them back. So that's what BRR is. I did all of these and it was great, and we didn't leave in too much money and, all that stuff. But then the market changed. And like I said there, you get 75% of the end value back on a remortgage, or less or slightly more. With a sale, you get 100% because you're selling it at sale value. There's no equity to be there. And so in a tough market like this, where it's hard to secure things at the right price, with a flip, I've got fat. I've got 25% of fat versus BRR where I don't have that. And so I thought, well, let's flip strategy and let's do something that can, whilst we're in this market, and whilst I have a portfolio, and hey, I get a buy-to-let right now, I'm buying it, I'll keep it. But let's do some flips, let's generate some chunky cash, because who doesn't like that? And actually, put it into things, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later, like crypto and other assets potentially, that can kind of diversify the portfolio. But yeah, I like chunks of cash.
Yeah, that's good that you just switch. You saw the issue and you switched. What has been the most different to what you expected?
Well, everything if you listen to some educational providers. Refinancing has been really different because a lot of people, say, oh yeah, you just get a mortgage. Yeah. Okay, done. I found it so difficult. I'm not a homeowner. I wasn't at the time either. I hadn't done property before. I had a minimal salary from my other business to be tax efficient. So lenders didn't really like that for some reason. And, my credit score is really good. And so even when I bought properties, I pretty quickly became a portfolio landlord, which I don't like, which is very weird because their purpose is to serve us. That's their business.
Yeah.
So that was definitely different and something that I was like, what? Like, how? And that then taught me to check everything with my broker. Like, look, I want to get 5 more. Is this going to be a problem? No, you already passed the 4 number. Okay, cool. Like, just checking my general profile. Like, should I take more salary out? Should I do this? What can we do to improve my chances? That was definitely different to what I expected. Even the refurb side was as well. Like I said, how difficult it was. I didn't know that. I know builders are going to be difficult to work with. I just thought that there'd be some good human beings, which there are very few, who, it would just be a lot smoother. And that wasn't whatsoever. Raising money was easier than I thought. I think we all think, well, who's going to give me money? I don't have experience. I don't do, I'm just me and and I suppose I kind of thought that as well. And then it happened, and it happened, and it happens, and and you look at it and you're like, well, that's pretty cool. That was way different to kind of what I suppose I thought was going to happen. I think those are probably the main things, I think because I prepared to an extent by reading, by listening to podcasts, by going to networking events, just, like you are engrossing myself in the business and the community, I then, I suppose, wasn't surprised by too much. But, every day, and I still am, you're learning stuff and things are changing and what you thought was something becomes something else. And, that always changes. So, yeah, also the speed. I mean, I thought property was slow, and the technology, and I did not realize how slow it is. And the technology and the lack of technology is just like, what? So those are some things that I think were different to what I expected.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the refinance part, that it wasn't like what people say. Do you think that people should speak more about that? And why don't the people that are selling the dream talking about it? Because that's like a really important process during the BRR, or even if because they want you to go and raise money. But if you don't have an exit, or if it's very difficult, they maybe should teach you. Or what's your take on that?
So my take on that is that, one, what these people will say is, I'm not a broker. I don't know. Check with your broker. That's the excuse. That's the official political answer, right? They'd give. Obviously, it's true, but I know enough. I'm not a broker, but I know enough that, generally speaking, I know the majority of things that I'm going to get lending on or not. But I'll always check. But I know that because I've learned that. I'm a responsible person teaching. Not giving financial advice themselves, should be able to give some rough idea. So, well, look, if it's above a commercial, especially a takeaway, there might be some difficolty. If it's next to an empty car park, there might, like, just little things like that they should be giving. Because like you said, your exit is important. Who gets into a deal with no exit? And that doesn't mean selling for the listeners. It means retaining it, but that's still an exit off your bridge or off your cash. So, I really don't know why. I think it's just a disclaimer, and it's easy to just say, oh, I don't know, I'm not a broker. But in reality, if you haven't got this stage right, like the gravity of getting it wrong is huge. And it will cost you all of your money. It will cost you headaches. It will cost you a lot of problems. So people really need to focus on their exits and securing their exits and having multiple. If your broker says, it's a bit of an iffy one, we've got one lender who'll look at it and they're a bit slow, and then, they're a bit, we don't really like them. I'm not really keen on taking that deal. I need three, I need three of them and one of them to be decent.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. So you mentioned last time when you were here that you didn't believe in profit courses. What do you think about it today?
It's kind of the same. I think the single answer is I don't believe in bad property courses now. Because I think when I first did that, I didn't make a loss. Like, I made a £6,500 loss on one of my flips. I had to flip a property that I didn't want to. I wanted to keep. I've lost money and have sued builders for this, in the middle of refurbs to tens of thousands, if not thousands of pounds. I think those experiences have changed the way that I look at it. And I say, well, you know what? If I'd paid someone a grand and a half, let's be kind of realistic, conservative here, and it was good, and I actually got taught the refurb properly, and it wasn't just, rubbish that most of these people do, I know that flip would not have made a loss. It was supposed to make a £20,000 profit.
Oh, wow.
So I might be able to buy one burger in Göteborg with that profit, given your prices here. But it was supposed to be that much profit. Imagine being like, £20,000 profit, I'll put that here, pay down these investors. And then you look at it, it's like, oh, so I'm being forced to sell it now, losing £5,500, and then a month later losing another £1,000 because I had to go back and fix some stuff. And I'm like, I already paid to fix this. Like, stuff like that, and then just being ripped off by builders and having issues with them and breaking down with all these issues, it just made me think, even if it was a mentor, even if it was like once a month I had someone, right, paid 100 quid, 150 quid and said, right, here's what the builder's saying to me, here's what my solicitor's saying to me, here's what I think about this. Like, it would have changed. That would have been in profit. All the other I would have had a different journey. And I suppose that's why I look at it and say good courses are worth their weight in gold. But finding them is like finding a piece of gold on the street. When was the last time you saw a bit of gold on your street? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think people need to be really careful to do their due diligence, to make sure that the person is not just a marketer, but also a property investor, and that they can see, they're documenting their journey, and they can see, oh yeah, they're buying that house, they're doing this, and there's a record on company's house and things like that. Not just, oh, I'm a shiny property investor, and here, loan me 100 grand, I'll never give it back, like people seem to be doing.
So let's say people, because some people don't like their answer is like, yeah, I own it privately. What's your take on?
I think, you know what, it's a tough one because some people do,
yeah,
especially if they're like above, I don't know, like if they're 30 plus maybe, because they would have maybe purchased it when they were younger, when it was normal to do that in personal name.
Yeah.
So, it's a tough one. Like when people say that, there's not a lot you can kind of do. If you're going to invest with them, then I would be saying, okay, well, show me completion statements from your solicitor. Let me speak to your solicitor and verify that you own these properties. You can go on LandReg. If you say, give me the addresses, don't worry about anything else.
That's true.
You can go on LandReg, right? So that's what I would say to do.
Smart. Good golden nuggets as usual. But spinning on further to that you mentioned, but wouldn't like a mastermind instead be, let's say if you don't want to buy a course, but if you're in a good mastermind that maybe you pay for, wouldn't that be almost like doing a course, but it's ongoing because you have it, I don't know how long, but you know what I mean? Do you should suggest that as well, or just take the course? Or let's say if you did like you did and just went on a mastermind instead.
Yeah, I think, look, if you have good like knowledge beforehand, which most people think they do, but they don't, then yeah, a mastermind will be of use. It will be beneficial because you learn from others, right? So even if you only have 10 minutes to speak, if you get someone, if you hear Nana coming on and saying, oh, we have this pop, you're like, oh, okay, I'll note that down for future. Or like, oh, I had that, So I think it can be really useful. The only thing is, too many people don't want to pay thousands of pounds for a course, which is fine, whatever. But they'll jump into, oh, I need a mentor. It's like, no, you don't. Like, oh, I need a mastermind. No, you don't. Like the first step, whether it's paid or whether it's free, is education, right? If you don't have the right education, then a mentor can't do anything because they're going to spend hours teaching you basic crap.
True.
You're going to spend so much money with them, which is why most mentors will accept you. Yeah. They'll say, oh, you're new. Yeah, come on, we need that 20 hours. I won't do that. I ain't got time for that. You have to do education first in some sort to actually learn, and then the guide and the mentor and the mastermind will implement it with you. Take the theory into practice.
Yeah. Okay. I totally agree with you. So before we started recording, we talked about your lifestyle, that you're a lifestyle investor. What do you mean with that? Could you explain?
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned earlier I purchased 15 properties in 9 months. That was crazy. It was fast. It was goal driven. It was everything I suppose I wanted to be at that time. Everything I wanted to do in that time. And I'm grateful for that because COVID hit and the market went crazy and I'm like, okay. So I timed this really well. So that was a different vibe. It was like, right, this many houses, this many viewings, got to hit this target, boom, 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 boom. Now, I suppose because the portfolio is cash flowing and I suppose crypto is doing well at the moment, I look at the income versus outgoings, and I look at where I want to be and where I'm at, and then we might talk about this later, happiness versus money and all that stuff. But then I just think, you know what, I like property. Do I love property? I love interior design. I love construction. I love seeing all that stuff. But I don't love property as a whole, right? And so, like you, if I don't love something, I'm not interested. I'm done. But I do like it, and I do enjoy it, and I like what it gives. I've got the knowledge, I've got the team, I've got the funding, I've got the system is there. I just need to plug it in and connect all the dots. So because of that, I'm kind of doing 1, 2, 3 flips a year, generate anywhere from 30 to kind of 80 grand profit. You do 2 or 3 of them a year,
You ball it.
Exactly. I mean, you're not living like a mad, lavish lifestyle, but you've got more than enough in a Western society to live a very good life.
Yeah.
And if you invest that further and make it more, then we're good. So that's kind of the position I'm at right now. And I'm trying to do these refurbs hands off by using my really, really good build team. So it's a big up Craig for that. And then I'm trying to, I suppose, make that more like a side hustle. But I'm still in property and I'm still doing it. But the kind of flips and managing it, which is not my strength, the refurb, will be a side hustle. And I'm focusing on right now crypto. I'm looking to buy like an MOT car garage, got like a moisturizing business I want to launch, like a restaurant. I've got all these ideas and things I want to do, but also like with content in terms of property and the kind of influencer thing, I'm still young in that. I'm still early in that. So I've got lots I can give there. And as you know, it takes time to film, record, edit, all the whole story. So I'm kind of making property, instead of being 100%, it's kind of maybe becoming 40%, right? Still making the same amount of money. Well, less, because I'm doing less work, of course. Project manager's got to take a cut. Outsourcing's got to take a cut. But it gives me time. Yeah. And it gives me mental clarity and mental space to do other stuff that I like. And for people, this is okay. You don't have to have a portfolio to do what I'm doing. If you have a job that you like, or you want to, or your retirement plan in 10 years, or you just like other stuff, you can be like a lifestyle developer, a lifestyle investor. You don't have to be like everyone on Instagram, like, yo, I woke up today at 4 a.m., got 10 goals, I'm like a shark, I'm buying everyone, and then, Grant Cardone said I had to do this, and it's like, just do what you want. Like, that's the vibe I'm on.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You should do what you want. I know you're great with branding, so I want to ask you. I heard people say that if you buy 10,000 followers on Instagram, you get 10,000 real ones. Is that true?
Nope, absolute rubbish. There's some people selling followers, and most of them are like robots and, things from overseas, just like, like buy all these likes and stuff. Some are doing it in the UK. You know who you are, you lot of dickheads. It's pointless because, okay, you know what? It's not pointless because society is dumb, yeah? Society sees the 10k followers, doesn't realise that if you look at the like ratio and just the comment, you can work it out really quickly if it's a fake following. Some people are better than others.
Can you do an
Yeah, example? So if you look at someone's account and they've got 25,000 followers, but their pictures are getting 30, 40 likes, 50, 60, maybe even 100. And their videos, the videos are a good clue, are getting like no views or such little views, and there's like no comments, and there's no actual engagement with people, it's probably a fake account. So, but society are dumb, they believe it, and they say, oh my God, 25, and they're selling a course. Oh, well, there must be just dumb, shallow. Yeah. So it works, right? Crime pays, like it works. They make money. They probably make more money than honest people, right?
Yeah.
That's why people do it. But if you're an honest person, I'm sure your listeners are, there's no point. It doesn't help anyone. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of buying it. It makes you look dumb. I just laugh at people like that, and I won't take them seriously. You'll never come on my podcast if you've got fake followers. That's a fact. Never. Yeah. I won't even chat to you. I just don't want to chat to you.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. It's good that Instagram is helping them with this blocking the likes.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, make it even worse.
Yeah. So we know that you read a lot of Stoicism. Mm-hmm. How does that fit in with money and cash flow?
So Stoicism, yeah, it's an interesting one because I suppose there were arguments because Marcus Aurelius was a king, so he was rich. Seneca was rich, Epictetus wasn't, but I think for me, right, and this is a really, I was talking about this with our friend D ages ago on Clubhouse. Remember Clubhouse?
Yeah. What happened with that?
What happened is exactly what we thought. And there's a real fine balance between chasing money and chasing materialistic things, or wanting money, but then also wanting contentment and happiness. And we went for our walk yesterday on ahead.The, that is like contentment. That's nothing to do with money. It was free to get. I mean, you need to cover the petrol and have a car, but generally speaking, it was free to get there. And that for me is like a pure contentment, peaceful, spiritual, whatever experience. But then I still like having a certain car. I still like wearing certain clothes. I still like having, a nice, whatever it is. And I think it's a balance between getting caught up and chasing that. So I only bought a new computer after 7 or 8 years because my other one was just too slow. I wasn't chasing the new computer. I wasn't like, oh, I need a new computer. That property, get me this, and then, oh, computer. But when I get it, I'll be happy. So the way I assign emotion or feeling to something, I suppose, splits that difference. Whereas some people will say, oh, when I get the new MacBook, I'll be really happy. When I get a new car, everyone's going to look at me and I'll be really cool. I'll be really happy then. it's like changing how you perceive and how you receive things in your life. You can absolutely be a Stoic and be filthy rich. You can. It's how you perceive it and how you talk about it. And a lot of people don't have that balance. It's like, oh, I've quit my job, get all this money, and then you're still unhappy. You're rich, you're crying in a Lamborghini, which is nice leather to cry on, but like you're still sad. You're still the same person. You still feel the same. So yeah, I think a lot of people should read some Stoicism. Ryan Holiday's got incredible books on it. And just think about how they're thinking about things and how they perceive the world around them.
Yeah. And do you think people should, like, in the property space, this should be like more into it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of people, to be fair, compared to, say, like FX traders or other like types of businesses, they don't stunt on property that much. They don't put their new car up. There's a few people, but like whatever. Like, I think people in property don't really stunt like that and kind of show off. But within ourselves, I think it's something we all need to think about, especially because property can make you wealthy. But of course, chasing money, if you chase money or you chase success or solving problems or creating an impact, you're always going to make more money when you're chasing impact and solutions. If you chase money, you're always going to make less money than someone who has a noble cause. All these startups, right, they get bought for billions and millions.
Yeah.
These are some tech geeks who are like, oh my God, I love this issue. I need to solve this coding problem. Not, oh, if we build this company, a VC will come and take it. They are dead.
Yeah.
The geeky ones who love what they're doing, they're the ones who get all the money.
Yeah. So the people like WeWork, that's we saw. Okay. Nevertheless. So 2022 is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
As we are recording this, it's the 22nd of November. So what do you have planned for the year ahead?
Yeah, so you know what? I haven't really set my goals yet. I kind of set them, over Christmas is like kind of a 2-week break.
Yeah.
I usually do that to kind of reflect and like just think about what I've done, like review the achievements, review the numbers, just have a deep dive into the business and say, where are we going? I know for sure that I'm going to continue the kind of lifestyle flip business that I'm doing. I've got one flip that I'm buying now, it will complete in March in terms of like be ready for sale. That'll probably be the first of 2022. If that goes well and everything is as hands-off as I hope, then I'm going to do 2 more of those at least, hopefully in higher value areas, because as you know, you do the same amount of work and you might as well get more money. I think from January, and again, this is something I need to firm up, I will be looking for the MOT car garage to buy. So to buy that business, I'll have some profit from the flips and maybe some from crypto that I'll be able to then put into this as well, like a real investment. Those are probably I think the biggest thing is getting that MOT car garage sorted, seeing where the crypto market goes and takes me and where I take it, continuing with some NFTs if that's still happening and it's still kind of popular and it works. But property really will become the kind of, that flipping kind of business there that I can run and outsource and hopefully help other people like learn to outsource it. And then events, I'm running the property event, .co.uk, me and James Sahota, and, second Thursday of every month in London, just promoting that, growing it, making it get bigger. We were talking about some retreats, just doing events with that. That's kind of a big focus of mine because I love networking. So those are the main focuses, but I'm quite flexible, as the year goes on, if something shifts in the market, then I might be like, oh, actually, let's get 5 more buy-to-lets, if something shifts. So yeah. I keep it flexible, but my goals will be set in December.
Okay, so we should have had this call in December, people.
Yeah, but listen, the weather here is -4 today. I am not coming back in December. Thank you very much.
So, last question, I think. What do you see the market 2022? I know you're not Nostradamus, but what do you expect? Will it cool off? And have you seen that the furlough, when the furlough scheme ended, has something happened? I mean, in the US, they have the great resignation.
I thought that I saw an article that said more jobs created when furlough ended.
Yep.
I could be wrong, but I'm sure I saw an article saying that. Otherwise, no one's talking about it. It's not in the media because ain't nothing happening, right? Nothing for them to spin. Yeah. As far as I can tell, nothing's changed. And I haven't heard anything like from other people that kind of listen to the market that things have changed. Is the market going to cool off? Yes, at some point. But I don't know how far away we are from that. And I think the market's going to still be hot, at least until maybe the middle of next year. but it will gradually maybe cool down as things change and we return to normal. But yeah, I haven't seen it cooling down. Auctions are still going crazy. People are still buying way over. Yeah, it's not happening yet, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, Tej, it's been a pleasure to have you here in Gothenburg. Been a pleasure.
Thanks to me again.
Pleasure to have you on the podcast. So if people want to get hold of you or maybe buy your e-learning, come to your event, I will eventually come to it when I get vaccinated, getting in on Tuesday, tomorrow. Woo. So how can they reach out to you?
So the best way is Instagram, tej.talks. Find me there. And then on there, I've got a link. You can click on it for my YouTube, my e-learning, my books, everything. You can go to there. So and I've got my own podcast, so come and have a listen. And yeah, hopefully meet you at an event or see you somewhere soon.
Yeah. And his podcast is really good. That's how I found you. And
Nana's a super fan.
Yeah, I am. His books is great as well. So give it a read. Give him a shout out. And people, don't be stressed. Invest.